Hey guys, welcome back to an episode of Frank's Unsolicited Advice. And I was down in New Orleans for the weekend. We left Thursday driving to see my daughter graduate from Loyola. She graduated last year, but we was gonna see her walk this year since COVID last year. We couldn't see her do her thing last year, so we went down there. Enjoyed a good time. It turned out to be a little family trip. Some needed rejuvenation, some needed time away from it all. I was feeling a little, overwhelmed, a little stressed with things at work and my personal life. I was battling my own self, I guess, my own demons in a sense. And I needed it. I didn't know I needed it. I didn't. I left, we wouldn't probably never made the trip. It wasn't for my daughter graduating. And, that's a whole nother topic in itself because I feel like you do need that break we all need that escape. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, my wife sometimes gets away by herself with her girlfriends. I stay home with the kids or I'll go away and, whatever. And people think like, how can you do that? I think sometimes you need time to yourself to decompress, figure your own stuff out. And then there's vacations you take with your family and there's vacations you take with your significant other to rebuild that love and that connection and that communication. And I feel like sometimes we don't do that. I know I don't at all. I'm not going to lie to you. Not just because COVID and we couldn't travel, but because I get so wrapped up with all of the bills. If I take this trip, that's money I could be putting into this, or, retirement's around the corner. So maybe I need to save money. And, for a person like me that has survived many things, you start thinking, well, damn, fam, you only live once. You know what I'm saying? That's as funny that sounds, a corny YOLO, whatever, but you do. And when you die, you can't take any of it with you. And I'm not saying to go out there and splurge your money and not leave nothing for your family if you have a family. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying secure the bag for your family first. Make sure you leave something behind for them. Make sure that you have an estate plan for them. So when you're gone, they have something to fall back on. Because a lot of times we don't, we feel like, well, why am I going to pay for something that I'm never going to use? And we're not thinking about the bigger picture. Like my mom likes to say, we're thinking about ourselves instead of thinking about the family, that when we're gone, they're going to need something to help them bounce back because you're no longer there. But that's a whole nother episode in itself. So back to the trip. We drive down Thursday. We leave about 10 o'clock in the morning. We made a trip out of it. We didn't get to New Orleans until like 4 in the morning Friday. Took a nap, pretty much, then got up and started our day. Unfortunately, due to some unseen events, my daughter didn't make the graduation. So I was bummed out for that, but she still came down and, spent time with her friends, and her mom and her stepdad was there. So we all got to hang out for a little bit. But the reason I'm talking about this is because I needed that trip to, like I said, decompress, let go of some stuff that I was dealing with internally, and come to the terminalization or realization of this. Okay, I'm a Christian. I got baptized when I got back with my wife again. And anybody that says they're a perfect Christian, they're a liar. So I won't believe them. I have my own struggles. I have my own vices. I have my own demons. Everybody does. We fight them every day. And I try to be a better person. That's why I made that episode of growth. I don't think I ever put it up. It was on Facebook Live where I apologize about using the N-word. And that's right, I shouldn't. And now I'm going to apologize for that word because I can't talk about we as minorities need to grow, but I'm still talking like I'm back at home. And that's not the thing. But one thing I'm not going to apologize for is if I say the word shit, it came out. I'm human. You know what I'm saying? If I might slip up and curse here and there, it's something I'm struggling with. It's one of my vices. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the things that's part of me that I'm trying to change. I'm not perfect. I'm working on myself every day to be a better person. Sometimes I might drink and probably drink more than I should. And I shouldn't get totally drunk, right? But sometimes you deal with your way, how you deal with it. But that doesn't take away from my belief in God at all, or what I know that He's my savior and that he has my back. Without him, I have nothing. And that doesn't take away from me as a person. Just because I might slip up and say a curse word here and there, or I might overindulge on a drink every once in a while, doesn't mean that, I'm not a good person at heart, or I don't have good values, or I'm not a good father or a good husband or a good friend. I put a post up on Facebook the other day about, I give my wife some love because, people don't realize, some people don't know. And the truth is, my wife and I were separated for 5 years. And part of it, and for the most part, is because of my infidelities, my indiscretions, me finding comfort in other women, using sex as a tool. There's a lot that I can say, and that's probably another episode too. But that was my fault, because I always say, what if I was the husband she needed? Maybe it would never let her to do the things she did or even leave me. You know what I'm saying? So I always take responsibility for my actions. I'm never going to say, oh, well, I never did nothing wrong. No, I was not. Listen, I wasn't. I to this day, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell I was thinking about. I mean, I think I know, but it is what it is. So going back to this trip, I needed this because, for one, I needed to give her flowers. I need to reconnect with her. She hit me with a few hot ones during a conversation one day, and I said, man, I didn't look at it that way. When she said she was making reference to me walking with one of my female coworkers and working out with her, but I wouldn't go work out with her. You know what I'm saying? And when she said it and she put it that way, I said, man, she is right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't think about it that way. I saw it as something innocent, two chiefs going to work out. When she put it that way, I didn't see it from her point of view. I saw it from mine. And sometimes you got to step out yourself and look at the picture from the outside in so you can see what the other person's coming from. And that makes the conversation a lot better when you do that. See, when you don't do that and you're only focused on your end, you're never going to get to a point where you guys can agree and come to agreement, or at least come to an understanding. You might not always agree. And so this trip did that. And I put it up on Instagram, on Facebook, and I'm trying to get back to posting more. I stopped putting stuff up in part because I don't know, I've been distracted. A lot of things fell wayside the last couple of weeks, and it wasn't a bad distraction. It was a good distraction. I just, sometimes I think sometimes we have to process our emotions and our feelings and where we're at before we can move forward. You can't give something 100% when you're not 100% sure or involved in what you're doing anyways. So, that's what this trip meant to me. Seeing my daughter Ava geeked out because we're walking around where we watch originals, and we're down in New Orleans and we're going to these different locations where they filmed originals. The Michelson house, she loved it. She was happy. My son wasn't too much into it. He wasn't into the whole Bourbon Street vibe. But then when he saw downtown, he was like, oh, this is more what I like. You know what I'm saying? We took him by the Superdome for him to see the Superdome. We didn't go inside, but outside. And, so we had a good time of it. And I feel like that city reconnected me and my wife a little bit too, because it allowed us to talk and it's one place where her and I can go and feel happy and feel comfortable. That's one of the reasons why we was thinking about moving there. It's the only place that we can go agree on and not have a problem. But getting back to what I was saying, I did a episode when I first started this podcast talking about be true to yourself, be you. And I think a lot of us, we scared to be who we are because of the judgment that's going to be passed by others or what people are going to say about us. You know what I'm saying? We get so nervous about the reaction that people are going to have that we sometimes we're not ourselves. And I respect those that don't care. I do respect those that don't care, because they live their life the way they want to live their life. And you could judge if you want, you could say what you want. They you know what I'm saying? They live it how they live it. And that's one thing I can appreciate, you know what I mean, when they do that. Because, sometimes growing up, man, and I've said this, my father was very respected in the neighborhood. My family was. So I was always worried about, oh man, if I did something in the street, my father would know, because his friends would tell him, Don Francisco, mira, I saw your son today. He was smoking a cigarette in the corner with his boys. And my dad would roll up on me like, yo, you were smoking today? And of course, like every dumb kid, nah, I wasn't, Dad. Oh, but, so you saying that this person lied. And at that point, I'm like, well, he got me. Yeah, I was smoking a cigarette. You know what I'm saying? Like little things like that. But I always was mindful about what I did, not to bring shame to my family, And that's not a bad thing. You want to be cautious in that end. But sometimes we don't live our truth, man. We don't. Like I said, I come up here and I do a podcast and I'm scared of what I'm going to say in my own podcast. As if look, if you don't like it, you ain't got to listen. You know what I'm saying? Not like I'm big anyways, you know what I mean? But if you don't like what I got to say, you ain't got to listen. If you want to critique it. You never know. It might help me grow some more material and go from there. But needless to say is the point of all this, and what I wanted to get at, was this trip to New Orleans that we took rejuvenated me, refocused me, helped me get my focus back where it needs to be, because I lost that. And I had a good friend of mine that was like, that she suggested, she goes, you need to do your own, you need to get your YouTube channel. I was like, well, I got a channel. I put my video. She's like, nah, you need to go live and expand your brand. She's like, you got it. Another friend of mine was like, write the book, Frank. Write your book. I think it'll be dope. And, you know, believing in yourself is something totally, in my opinion, underestimated. Nobody's going to fight for you as much as you're going to fight for yourself. And sometimes you need to hear it from others so that you can believe it yourself, when you should be believing in yourself. But sometimes you need to hear it, because we forget. We forget how valuable we are. We forget how important we are to ourselves. We forget that we have talents and we have traits and we have things that we can provide to others, and share. You know, there's no real, there's no reason why you shouldn't believe in yourself. And when you don't, you sell yourself short because you're not reaching your full potentials. So when I got back this morning at 1 o'clock in the morning, I said, well, I'm off till Thursday, and then I got to rhyme for a few days. So I guess what? I'm getting back to the basics. I'm gonna start doing more episodes, recording them more frequently. I'm gonna get back on my side business and start making that side business my main business. I kind of slacked off on that a little bit, and I'm not gonna care, yo. If you don't like me hitting you up about something that I'm doing to make extra money for me and my family, you don't want to support me, yo, you could get bent. I don't care. You don't have to support me. I'm fine. There's over 1 billion people in the world I can reach out to and talk to. If you don't want to listen to this podcast because it's not what you want to listen to, then thank you. You know, at least give me one listen and keep it moving. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to hurt. And if you don't care, if you don't like how I live my life, then don't watch, unsubscribe, turn the TV off, because I'm going to be me. And I'm tired of being something I'm not. Like I said, if I say shit, hey, then I said it. You know what I'm saying? I'll pray and ask God to forgive me and help control my tongue more. But I think that when I get on here, I do control my tongue as more than I normally probably would any other time. I think I've become better at that, but it's a work in progress. The trip, like I said, was really needed. We had a good time down in the city of New Orleans, and right before we left, we bought a bunch of food. And I told my wife, I said, look, don't buy this food. We're not going to eat it. Oh, no, we're going to eat it. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we was leaving, getting ready to get on the highway to head up. And we stopped by a tent. There's a bunch of tents out there under the freeway. And we gave it to one of the homeless people, a full bag of bread, cold cuts, food, water, stuff like that they can eat. And he was so happy. And that's another thing, man. We got to learn how to give back to people. You know what I'm saying? Some of us are blessed more than others. And that's just what it is. Some people don't have it. And when you have more, give. But give because you want to give, not because you're expecting something in return. That's a whole nother conversation as well. But that's my story. This is my first episode back. I'm going to put it out today. And you know, I just want to say, listen, I'm going to be me. So be you. Rejuvenated. I feel refocused. I feel good. I feel better than I felt in a long time. I'll tell you that much. And I owe it to a lot of people. And, you know, not going to say names because you leave one person out and, you know, I mean, everybody like, oh, what happened? I thought I was important. But my family, of course, my friends and my coworkers, thank you for the support and the input that you had in this process right here. Because believe it or not, a lot of people did. And it just showed me a lot of things that I just forgot to look at. And I want to say thanks. So anyway, Frank's Unsolicited Advice. Thank you for listening. Have a good one.